Why do some people seem unshakable, calm in traffic, composed in conflict, collected under crushing pressure, while others erupt at the smallest inconvenience? A wrong look, a delayed email, a spilled cup of coffee. Just like that, their whole day spirals into stress. Now imagine this. You're sitting in gridlock traffic, horns blaring, notifications buzzing, a client just cancelled, you're already late, and yet you breathe, you sit still, you say nothing. That silence isn't weakness, that pause isn't passivity, that is trained power. Most people think calmness is something you're born with, a personality trait, a lucky temperament. But the truth, according to the ancient Stoics, is far more empowering. Calm under pressure is not a gift. It's a skill, a practiced, forged, and fiercely protected discipline of the mind. The Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, believed that while we cannot control the storms of the world, we can master the ship of our thoughts. We can't choose what happens, but we can choose our reaction. And that moment of choice is where freedom lives. In today's world, where stress is celebrated as ambition and chaos is disguised as productivity, we've lost that space between stimulus and response. We live in constant fight or flight. Phone calls, headlines, pressure, deadlines. We're overloaded, overstimulated, and undertrained to handle it. But what if you could change that? What if, no matter what life throws your way, you could meet it with grounded stillness? The Stoics didn't wait for chaos to test them, they trained for it. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor leading through plague and war, wrote nightly meditations to remind himself that calm was his responsibility. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that nothing outside your control can truly harm you unless you let it. And Seneca warned us, "The storm is coming, don't wait until it hits to fortify your soul." You have power over your mind, Marcus wrote, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That power isn't abstract, it's practical, it's trained. And it begins the moment you stop blaming the world for your emotions and start owning them. So how exactly do we do that? How do we turn emotional chaos into clarity the Stoic way? The first step is to build what the Stoics called a fortress of the mind. That means recognizing that your emotions are not automatic, they are chosen, even when they feel instinctive. When something angers you, it's not the event itself that causes rage, it's the judgment you place on that event. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you interpret it. So when someone insults you, when plans fall apart, when life feels unfair, pause, step back. Don't identify with the emotion. Observe it, name it. Say to yourself, I feel irritation rising. That simple recognition creates a gap, and in that gap, you reclaim your power. You begin to realize that reacting is easy. Restraining yourself, that's where the work begins. And every time you pause before reacting, you're not repressing, you're rewiring. You're training your nervous system to obey your judgment, not your impulses. The more you practice this, the stronger your internal muscle of calm becomes. You begin to trust yourself not to feel less, but to act more wisely. The second step is what Seneca called voluntary discomfort. To become strong under pressure, we must occasionally step into pressure on purpose. Not to suffer for the sake of suffering, but to become familiar with challenge before it arrives unexpectedly. Seneca would fast, sleep on hard surfaces, and walk without luxuries to prepare his mind for hardship. Why? Because nothing surprises the man who has rehearsed difficulty. In modern life, voluntary discomfort might look like taking cold showers, doing a hard workout after a long day, or intentionally staying silent in a petty argument. It might mean saying no to unnecessary indulgence or delaying gratification when it's inconvenient. The goal is not to punish yourself, it's to expand your threshold. You begin to tell your body, I can endure this. I don't run from friction. I use it to grow. And when real adversity strikes, you don't collapse because you've already trained in discomfort by choice. The third step is negative visualization. This sounds pessimistic, but it's actually a path to deep appreciation and clarity. The Stoics would deliberately contemplate the worst-case scenario, not to become anxious, but to become prepared. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that he, his loved ones, and his possessions were mortal and temporary. This wasn't nihilism, it was awakening. Because when you face the loss before it happens, you stop taking things for granted. You start living with precision, not distraction. Imagine this. You're walking into a tense meeting. Instead of hoping everything goes well, you quietly ask, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe someone disagrees. Maybe you're misunderstood. And then you make peace with that possibility. You don't expect failure, but you're not surprised by it either. Suddenly, you're not rattled. You're prepared. Your calm isn't a reaction, it's a strategy. With these three tools, mindful observation, voluntary hardship, and negative visualization, you're not avoiding stress. You're mastering your relationship to it. You're reprogramming how your mind meets the world. And for one man, these principles changed everything. He was a soldier, a veteran of war, returning home not to peace but to invisible battlefields within his own mind. Every loud noise felt like danger. Crowds triggered panic. Sleep was a war he lost nightly. Diagnosed with PTSD, he struggled to live a normal life. Therapy helped, but something was still missing. Until one day, he came across a quote by Marcus Aurelius. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. It struck him like lightning. What if, he thought, I'm not broken, but untrained? What if my reactions are not destiny, but habits that can be reshaped? He began each day with a simple Stoic practice, journaling. Every morning, he would write down 3 questions. What might go wrong today? How will I choose to respond? What would a wiser version of me do in that moment? These weren't mere words. They were rehearsals. They were training. He didn't eliminate his fear. He learned to sit with it. He didn't suppress his anger. He learned to name it and delay it. And slowly, the panic attacks lessened. His confidence returned. The volume of the world lowered. He found that in the space between stimulus and reaction, there was something sacred. Choice. Years later, that same man became a coach for other veterans. Not a therapist, not a doctor. A peer who had walked the fire and learned to breathe through it. His message was simple. Calm is not something you wait for. It's something you build. And now, that message is yours. Because calmness is not the absence of conflict, it's presence in the midst of it. It's the steady hand in a shaking world. It's not a personality type. It's not luck. It's a discipline forged, sharpened, practiced. You want to become unshakable? Then start small. In the next 24 hours, every time you feel triggered, pause. Breathe. Say nothing. Observe. And ask yourself, what would the wiser version of me do right now? That is the moment you begin your training. And if this video has sparked something in you, a desire to master yourself, not just survive life, then leave a comment below. Calm is a skill I'm building. Let others know they're not alone on this path. We are all training together. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this with someone you care about. And remember, they can test you, but they cannot shake what you've built inside. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay free.